Self-sabotage. Have you ever self-sabotaged yourself, or have you ever noticed that you have self-sabotaged? Self-sabotage is a defense mechanism. It's our way of our mind trying to keep us safe. Whenever we feel like we want to bring in a change into our life, be it good, bad, ugly, beautiful, whatever it is, our body will automatically go into defense mechanisms just to try to keep us safe. If we ever find ourselves procrastinating or putting off the big jobs or putting off working towards the big goals, this is called self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is part of the unconscious brain that is trying to keep us safe. It's noticed that something is different, something has changed within our lives, and as far as it's concerned, change means danger. If something is not in the normal, it means danger, and danger means we will get hurt. And so without us consciously realizing, it makes us self-sabotage. So let me give you an example. Say you're wanting to bring a new healthy habit in. Say you're wanting to wake up a few hours earlier than you normally would because you no longer want to rush out the door to rush to work. You want to be able to wake up, enjoy your coffee, get ready at a leisurely pace, and then nicely and calmly go to work. As far as our mind is concerned, this is dangerous. It doesn't realize the benefits of this, and all it sees is that it is something not normal, not in our regular day-to-day. It's not safe. It will see it as dangerous, and subconsciously you may be finding yourself scrolling on your phone until the early hours of the morning, and so when your alarm goes off at the time you want to get up, you actually feel too tired, or you might even sleep through your alarm because you haven't had enough sleep to wake up at that time. And then when you wake up and realize that you didn't get up when you wanted to, you then beat yourself up and think, oh great, another day rushing off to work. Instead of beating ourselves up, we need to stop and realize that actually it's our subconscious sabotaging ourselves because it wasn't normal. When we realize this, things can drastically change in our lives. So instead of putting off working towards the things that you really want, or procrastinating over doing sometimes menial tasks, we can actually stop, recognize and realize that it is just our unconscious minds trying to keep us safe by self-sabotaging ourselves, and ask ourselves why. So now you know what self-sabotaging is. It sounds more scary, I believe, than what it actually is. All it's trying to do is keep us in the familiar. It doesn't want to go into the unfamiliar because it thinks that we'll be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, because that's one of the reasons why we have this defense mechanism, which, if we think about it, is hilarious. I laugh at it now every time it kicks in because I just think there are no saber-toothed tigers anymore, but it's okay. Why not? Some ways we can stop or slow down our self-sabotaging ways is by recognizing them and noticing them when they kick in. Like I say, when I feel it kicking in, I now just laugh at myself and think, okay, there's obviously a saber-toothed tiger standing at my front door ready to eat me, which we know is obviously not true, unless, Jurassic Park actually happens. But I'm procrastinating, aren't I? There we go, it's just kicked in. So, as I say, some of the things that we can do is notice that it's actually happening. So to do this, we really need to, get to know ourselves quite well. We need to get to know where our comfort zone is, what makes us happy, what makes us sad, what makes us feel a little bit on edge, because anything in the sad, on edge, fearful factors will automatically kick us into self-sabotage. It's just what's going to happen. But if we can focus on the good things, and maybe we realize if there's just that little bit too much good in our life, the self-sabotage will happen, because by bringing more happiness into your life, it will kick in, because it's not normal. There is a wonderful book, I cannot remember who wrote it, but it's called Taking the Leap. I'll put it on screen. And it explains why we struggle so much with self-sabotage, why we struggle so much to push our boundaries. He calls it upper limiting, again, on the screen. So we can notice when this happens, we can notice when we've been triggered and when we're out of our comfort zone. And if we notice this more, the more we can recognize it, the more we can work on it and realize that, this is why I've been triggered. Let's work on that. Sometimes it's from past traumas, or, someone said a fleeting comment unnecessarily, and it could be something as little as that. So if you can find why you've been triggered, or where the wound is within yourself, it's a chance for you to heal it, and then hopefully you'll self-sabotage less. One major thing we can do is show ourselves compassion. We are human beings, it's the way we are wired. There are ways around it, but it is just our natural instincts. Like I said earlier, they're just trying to keep us safe. So if we are compassionate with ourselves, instead of beating ourselves up because we didn't wake up when we wanted to, or we struggled to eat the healthy meal that we wanted to eat and we ate something else instead of beating ourselves up about it, we can actually be compassionate about it. We now know why. It's okay, it's normal. Let's take it as it is, and we'll try again tomorrow. Let's take it as it is, and we'll try it with the next meal. The more compassionate we can show, the more self-love we can show, the better life will be, and the easier we will find it to be able to deal with what is going on in our subconscious, and the faster we can move forward. Another way, which I think is fantastic, and I highly recommend to everybody, instead of seeing something as a failure, see it as a lesson. You've not failed waking up. You've noticed that something is going on and that you need to work on something. It's not a failure, it's a lesson. The more we realize that life is for learning and lessons are trying to teach us things, the easier it is to fail, because we're not scared of it. And if we're not scared of it, we don't put ourselves into automatic fear, which will then trigger the self-sabotage. If we allow ourselves to be okay with learning the lessons, there's not much to fear. And this then takes down our defense mechanisms just that little bit, and it helps every day. And another way to look at changing something in your life is, instead of thinking this is going to be a change, think of it as, I'm curious about what this could do. So if we actually get curious about, say, bringing a new habit in, I wonder what it's going to do for me. I wonder what happiness it's going to bring. I wonder what new health benefits this habit's going to bring. The more we ask ourselves and get curious about bringing whatever it is in, the less likely we are to self-sabotage, because it's more of a curiosity and more of an experiment, more of a I wonder what would happen if, rather than this is what's going to happen and this is what's going to be, because that would automatically put our minds into self-sabotaging mode. That will automatically put it as it's going to be different, and as we know, it's wrong. So get curious. Ask yourself, what would it be like to wake up at whatever time you want to wake up at? What would it be like to be able to drink my coffee in the morning nice and relaxed? What would it be like to, take a slower pace to work or get ready casually in the morning? I wonder what that would be like. And you're asking yourself a question then, rather than telling yourself you're making a change. So just seeing it from a slightly different point of view will hopefully slow down that self-sabotaging ways. And I also believe it's a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more of a, let's give it a go, rather than this is a change that's going to happen. So whenever you feel like an old habit has kicked in, or when you realize what a self-sabotage looks like to you, notice it and ask yourself, what's happening? What's made this go off? What has changed that has made my body feel like I'm in fear, that I'm in danger? And get curious about it. Ask yourself, what is going on? The more we ask ourselves about things, the more we can discover more things about ourselves. And I think the more we discover about ourselves, the better, because then we get to know ourselves better, and then we can stop the habits that are damaging us, that we feel are damaging to ourselves, and it will create a much nicer cycle rather than a damaging cycle. So I hope this has helped. I hope I've been able to explain a little bit about what self-sabotaging is, and how we can start to turn it around. Instead of making the familiar safe, let's expand the familiar and bring in more things that we actually want into our lives. So I hope you have a truly wonderful day, and I'll see you next week in the next video.